Do you have one of those relationships where it just vibes, just flows? Like your conversations are so easy, so relaxed. You just get each other and you go back and forth. You have such respect for the other person and what they have to say, and you want to hear and know what they're going to say. And there's no tension, no competition, no comparison, and there's no stepping on eggshells, wondering if the next sentence is going to blow up and it could turn into something that you have to feel bad about or feel sorry about or just feel yuck about at the end of the conversation. Well, wonderful Morrison is my guest today, and she's one of my friends who is just easy. It's just easy, but she has such great wisdom too at the same time. And I really believe that when you have genuine, real inner peace, the conversations are going to just flow and not be competitive. There's not going to be this tension or this misunderstandings. There is no need for misunderstandings because you have grace and allowance for the other person just to show up as they are. So today we're talking about inner peace and how it relates to our businesses, our past businesses, and how we used to be in the past, and how inner peace has changed and transformed our businesses now, and our relationships in the past and relationships now, especially with our spouses and our kids. And if you are in any of those categories and want more ease, flow, and just relaxed, non-tension in any of those areas of your life, please stay tuned. But first, let's take a moment to breathe, bring the breath of life, invite the breath of life into our mind, soul, and our body. Take a deep breath in. Inhale, invite the breath of life to just give you a beautiful, relaxed state of mind. With this next inhale, feel every cell, tissue, muscle, bone, molecule in your body light up with full health, wealth, and well-being. Last deep breath in, inviting peace to be the center of every conversation, every relationship, of every thought and action in your day, and let that be your guiding north today. Stay tuned after these messages. Come on back. If your mind and spirit has been overwhelmed with fears, anxieties, stresses, worries, and even self-sabotage, book your session on slayandshine.com/book your sessions. Hello, friends. Welcome back to Slay and Shine Inner Peace Soul Care. This is your wonderful friend, Clemenza Freitas, and my wonderful friend, wonderful Morrison. She is here to talk to us about her ways of using inner peace in her life, in her family, and her business. She is a brand and marketing strategist for women in business. And we kind of came from the same background in fitness. We owned our own gyms for a long period of time. And when I veered off to in the midst, I still had my gym, and you did too. When you decided, you were totally done.
Yeah.
But then you also have been going through your own soul journey, which is very interesting because you're using some of those techniques. You've had to use some of those techniques with clients, but then it's
Yeah.
also has brought you to this new place in your life, another evolution,
Yeah.
which is creating you to explore again. So
Yes.
tell us a little bit more of what you do and who you are, and then I have questions to ask.
First of all, thank you so much for inviting me to be here, to be a part of your community. And it's always such a joy to talk to you. Like, before we even hit record, we're already like, it's such a expansive conversation. And it's like, wait.
Let's
So
press
it's,
record because it's good stuff.
I, So I got into this online space. I consider myself an online educator for women in business. Like, the company I started initially was business coaching, but it's turned into a online education platform. So I really want to put out there a way. I kind of deem it as a revolutionary way to do business, because women do business differently in general, right? You're always going to need operations and marketing and finance and leadership, but how it's being done is not necessarily masculine.
Mm,
We, and you really brought that to light because of the direction you were moving. Like, you really brought out the idea of the divine, sacred, feminine power. And that's what I believe um, my soul journey was,
mm,
because I'd always been, fitness is a very masculine
yeah,
industry. So I just knew how to do it in that way, like number crunching, right? You're following data, your analytics, that whole thing.
yeah,
But when I was trying to teach women that, it was a hard concept to grasp, because women just don't think that way on a natural basis. And then I found it frustrating because there was conflict of
well,
like,
we were
wait,
naturally thinking that way.
yeah, right. And then that brought the evolution of that soul journey of, wait, I can meet them where they're at and they can still grow their business and create incredible profit. It just doesn't have to be done the way I was
Yeah.
taught. So then I had to assess myself,
Mm.
right? Assess myself. And that's where the inner peace really,
Ah,
really showed up, because I was like internally like, wait, what? No, it should be about money. It should be about this. But that's the shoulds,
yeah,
right? But when I really look at my soul and my heart, what does business mean to me? And it's an exchange of value and energy. And I don't want to work with women who are not in the same vibrational frequency as I am. That whole thing was so new.
yeah.
I was like, wait, what? What is that?
That's because we were raised in a culture and a
Yeah.
time in history where the masculine way of
Hmm.
doing business was the only way of doing business. So
Hmm.
it didn't matter if you were a match for your customer. It only mattered that you had the customer and that they paid you money.
Yes.
And because the money was the end result that you're going for and the numbers, stats and all of that, but the times have changed. The
Hmm.
energy of the planet is raising in frequency. So the balance of masculine and feminine are starting to, or has for a few years now, has been starting to level or at least rise in the feminine so that we can be both
Hmm.
left and right brain hemisphere even. Um,
Hmm.
and it's taking some women that were like us who operated in
Hmm.
masculine more often. It took some work. Let's just say.
Right. It really took that soul journey. I really love that. It really took that soul journey. And it's interesting because I was I was working with clients as I was going through the soul journey.
Yeah,
So that was kind of a interesting space in itself, because that's how I was able to solidify, like, I can choose who I work with,
yeah,
right? It wasn't so much driven in, I got to meet the
yeah,
numbers,
yeah,
which it still meets the numbers. It's just that's not the focus, right? The focus is the enjoyment
Mm,
of building the business, which then really offered that inner, like, I'm okay.
yeah.
I'm okay that I choose who I work with. Because my first business, it wasn't really by choice, it was just
Survival.
acquisition,
Hmm.
right? Like accumulation, acquisition, meeting the numbers, and then it's like the arranged marriage. I'll just grow to love you type of relationship, where I feel like this new business is birthed in. I'm gonna marry you from love, like
Yeah.
because I love you, not because I have to.
Well, then it sounds like there's more peace
Oh,
in, yeah,
100%.
because it, would you interpret that the peace is like, I just trust that the right people are coming. I have faith that if I
Mhm.
work with the people who are meant for me and I'm meant for them, not just because, oh, they found me and I even though we don't match, I'm gonna have to do this business anyway. Which having I mean, we've
Yeah,
learned for years in business when we had our gyms that when we had the wrong people in our establishment, it never turned out well anyway. Like, it
it
was
did. Oh
always
gosh,
pulling
no.
teeth to get them to do what they said they wanted to do. It's always it's like
Yeah,
we had to hold their hand through everything, but the right people that we say, like, I mean, and that's great for those coaches who like to hold hands and who
right.
like to nurture, and I like to nurture, but
Yeah,
I don't want to coerce you to do the thing that you say you want.
right, right. I think there's a way we can lovingly guide,
Yeah.
and then there's the forced.
Yeah.
And I've raised 3 kids. I'm good.
Yeah. I'm done. So going back to now that you found more feminine energy or you connected
Mhm,
to your feminine energy, and the
mhm,
divine feminine within you, you're operating business with more peace, which
mhm,
means you're now okay. Like you said, I'm okay. I'm gonna be
mhm,
fine if I only
mhm.
focus on who is the right match for me. But how is it also affecting your relationship with your clients and also in your household?
Oh my gosh. So I've always felt powerful. Like powerful is kind of it's synonymous to my being, right? Like the word power, and not in an egotistical way, but more of kind of like I'm courageous and brave, that kind of thing. Internally, I've felt this way, like okay, I can match challenges really well. However, inner peace is true power.
Mm,
Like I've never felt such core, true, aligned power in a way where it's like, I'm not just here to help you drive results. We're here to do it together. Like
yeah.
we're doing this. Like when we're talking to each other as women, like, you got this, let's high five each other, let's hold hands. And no, no, no. Convincing ourselves that that's who we are is logical. But being that version of you, you don't get to opt out, right? My clients don't get to opt out like, I don't know, maybe. No, you're walking into the space where you are now responsible for your own power and what you want.
Yeah.
And together, two powerful individuals creating is limitless. It's a space of true empowerment,
Yeah.
all driven by inner peace versus force.
I feel the same way in my marriage. Like,
And then it filters out
yeah.
into that, right?
Like, you do you,
Like,
boo, and I'll do me. And I don't have to control how you do you. We're just gonna end up in the
yeah,
same we're going from A to B. We're going to the A to Z.
yeah,
But how you get to Z is I'm trusting that you are gonna get there. I have faith that you're gonna get there and I don't have to micromanage you all along the
yeah. Oh
way.
my gosh. Totally. And for years, because like you, my husband and I built the business
Mhm.
together. for years we would try to convince ourselves of like, okay, we're only going to work to this time, and we're going to take these days. Like, but it never really worked out because you were just still, oh, wait, just one more hour. Now that commitment, like I don't work past 5 o'clock. I don't work Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Like but I don't feel guilt.
Oh my
I don't feel
gosh.
this guilt. I don't feel this like, oh, did I send that other email? No, I'm good.
Yeah.
I have such peace about it, and I'm good. Like we actually are now the couple that has shows that we
I know. We
for
too.
years we never did that,
Oh my god, it's
right?
so funny. I can relate. Now we have shows we watch together.
Yeah. That was and in peace.
Yeah.
Like we're not forcing it to happen. We're not putting in the calendar date nights.
Yeah.
Remember
Oh,
those
I
days?
know. But don't you think before it felt like survival?
Oh,
Like I had to stay up
100%.
late and make the newsletters on top of
Oh my
already
god.
having to work all day with the clients at the it's like I have to do this accounting and the bookkeeping,
Yeah, yeah. Everything felt I read this book called Power versus
oh,
Force,
yes.
and at first it didn't make any sense to me. I was like, okay,
This
I
is a little
get that,
science-y.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool. I have the information. But now that I live in it, I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. It's more feminine, the
Wow.
flow. Shifting the
Yes.
frequency, shifting your vibration to a different frequency will get the results that matches that frequency. But I think what people get lost at, and that's why it's nice to have a coach, especially in business, is
Hmm.
sometimes your vision gets really blurry because there's so many distractions of what we see on Instagram and how business is supposed to look, or we look on TV and we see all these great business women on the magazines, and then we're like, well, that's how do I get that? And so we
Right.
forget to tune into our own soul, our own self, to create what's trying to manifest from ourself. and
Yeah.
and so then we're out of peace because we're like, oh my gosh, I have to do this, it's supposed to
Yeah.
look like that, and this business coach said to do it this way, and then that person said to do it that way. Even
And then
marriage.
you're awake at 3 a.m. laying there going, oh,
Yeah. Oh no, my husband comes
oh,
down, "You're still awake typing?" I'm like, he would always say, "You would be more productive if you just go to sleep and try instead of forcing that email or forcing that newsletter." But I love that you said,
I
"I
know.
have my boundaries now, and I'm."
Hmm.
And what I think the difference between before and now is before we were afraid that if I didn't do
Hmm.
this, then I would lose. There's a sense of fear of loss, where now you're like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm shutting off at 5 o'clock. We're going,
Yeah.
and that's I'm at peace with that because you have this faith and trust that business will still show up. Even that email
Yeah.
will still be there tomorrow. That newsletter will still be there tomorrow. And I don't have to
Yeah.
go, like I'm at this point where, man, do I want to go live today? Let me ask my soul. No, I don't feel like it.
Yes. Oh my gosh. One of the conversations we had a couple years ago is you said, I was asking you something, and you were like, you know what? I need you to just be quiet and close your eyes and ask your higher self. And I remember going, okay, what do you mean? Like, do I see something? Do I hear what is that?
Yeah.
Right? And you didn't really go into explanation. You were just like, I just need you to be still and be quiet and then just ask and it'll come to you. So then I'm like, oh God, I need the details. Like, is it gonna come in a little voice, a big voice, whatever? But I did it, and it did happen. I mean, it took longer than it should because I'm inside my head going, what does it look like? Right.
Yeah.
But then when I finally just got so exhausted asking inside and got really quiet, it did show up.
Yeah.
It did show up. And I thought, oh, this is a new practice. So now I do that every time I like, should I go live? Or because there's days where yeah, I should, oh my gosh, I need to promote that. And then I don't. And I'm just like, okay, I'm in peace. And then the conversations that happen after are way much more meaningful because it's not
Force,
forced. It's
yeah.
just more kind of like, oh, then you are the client I needed.
Yeah.
I didn't have to go online and go hunt down clients. You are actually the client I was looking for. I just didn't know I didn't need to do that because I think that inner peace really it aligns you. You
Yeah.
know, people talk about alignment all the time and authenticity and vulnerability. And here's something I'm going to say a little crass. We have a tendency to be prostituting that out.
Right.
Like we're just throwing it out there as if it's a thing.
Yeah, but we're not
Well,
even
no, it's a
doing it.
very yeah, it's an intimate space. It's very intimate. It's very personal. And when it's intimate and personal, you have to be with
Yeah.
yourself. You
It's
have
not
to,
scripted.
that's the only space to be vulnerable and authentic.
Yeah.
I shouldn't have to convince the world I'm vulnerable and I'm authentic.
Right.
I just should show up as that
Yeah.
and people get it. That's inner peace. That is what I learned through this whole process
Yeah.
of that soul journey is and the interesting thing is I actually have made more money.
I
I've
was gonna
traveled.
say, don't you find that you
Oh
like,
my
I'm
gosh.
just sitting here doing a puzzle at the table this morning, and someone sends me a friend request and then sends me a DM asking, I have me and my 6 friends, we wanna come and do a sound bath, and, I had such a great experience, blah, 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 and I'm like, "Oh, great," and I didn't send a newsletter, I didn't make a post for 3 days.
Right? No, I before when we were running our other business, it was always like, oh man, how are we gonna pay for tickets to go here and da 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 da, right? Like you're always trying to like
Yeah,
budget your travel. My grandbabies moved across country. I literally see them once a quarter for months.
yeah.
I'd never done that before. Everything was
Oh,
always so limited
you
in the past if we had to go see, to travel, to experience life. Now it's like a no brainer. It's just like, oh, yeah, quarter two, I'm going to go see them at blah, blah, blah time. And this is how long we're going to stay. And oh my gosh,
don't you think
who
that
knew?
limited energy, or that limited fear that we had, the fear that we had that created the limited energy within us, then created
Mhm.
limitations in our life, and then now it's like, oh, I can still turn off at 5 o'clock, and we're not saying be lazy. Because if you put
Right.
out lazy energy, you're gonna get lazy money coming
Yeah.
back. We're not saying don't do nothing, because laziness is going to beget lazy. You're gonna reap the
Right.
rewards of laziness. We're saying be authentic, meaning if you don't have nothing to say, or if you're just
Right.
scripting and because someone else says this is what the topics you need to talk about today, or you need to show up every single
Right.
day because you have to, then it
Right.
doesn't feel good
The force,
anymore.
yeah, the force part. And it actually makes you a better business owner from that space because there is all kinds of resources. I post every day, but I really don't post every day because I'm on an
Yeah,
automation program where I spend, Sundays curating what I want to put out for the week. And then it just automatically pops up
yeah,
because I pay $40 a month for this program and it's worth it
yeah,
because then I don't do the stress of every day going, oh my God, I have to show up and I have to
yeah,
do this. It just makes me a better business owner by knowing that, oh, this is where I invest my
yeah.
money into, is this space where I can still be relevant and be consistent, but I'm not stressing myself out trying to come up with content on a day to
Uh,
day to day
for the
basis.
pressure
I
of
just,
it, yeah.
yeah.
And they should
And
anything
is
that
that
comes
worth
from
$40?
pressure.
Yes.
Oh yeah, totally worth
Yeah.
$40. And not and just remembering that whatever is birthed from that frequency or vibration of pressure is going to you're going to get back. And either the client that
Yeah.
ends up working with you is going to not be the most funnest client to be with. But let's talk about when you're out of inner peace, because we're kind of already hitting that and it happens. We're not, like
Yeah.
life. We live on this planet in this
Yeah.
dimension. So when there's times in your business or your family or your relationships that inner peace gets shook, how do you get back to center? How do you get back to that part of your heart where you're not in your brain space anymore,
Yeah.
because I find that when we get out of peace, it's because we're living more in the brain space, and
Yeah.
we have left the heart space. So how do you get back to center?
Yeah.
How do you get back to your heart when you're so up in your brain?
So in my soul journey, I really discovered a lot more of myself in a different way. So I have always been like a student in terms of personal development, right? Like I'm front row. Oh, I'm gonna do this. But the soul journey was just a different arena for me where it was a deep level assessment of me. And what I found is I am a constant tornado. I love to exist that way. Like that's just me, that I was born that
It's
way.
an
I came
addictive
out the womb
it's
like,
addictive too.
woo!
Like the brain
Right.
wasn't
Like I have,
created to be in that space, but the addiction, the high from it. Yeah.
yeah. And I
Mhm.
really enjoyed that.
Mhm.
However, there's that space of like, if it's too much, like anything, right? It just, that's where the anxiety and the whole overwhelm thing comes in. And when I found this space of inner peace, I honestly thought I was dying when I found inner peace because I was like, why is everything so calm? Like, what is happening?
Yeah.
Like, I felt like that day there was no battles to fight.
Yeah.
And I was like, what is this? So when I learned that that what was inner peace, I found, oh, I was already doing things to ground myself. I just didn't know they were grounding
Like
practices.
what?
And so I love classical
Oh.
music.
Mhm.
So I've always been where if I'm working too much, I'm, oh my gosh, the one more email. In throughout my life, I always am like, okay, I just need to listen to something that has no words, that has no fast beats, that's just Mozarty,
Yeah. Oh, I
right?
love the violin.
But I didn't know that that was a practice to get myself grounded.
Mm.
But once I figured that out, I'm like, "Pfft, oh, I can put that into my daily life because my in out of inner peace is an hour by hour. Like I'm like that person. So for me, classical music is a real,
Mm.
and going for a walk in nature. I'm very fortunate that I live by a lot of small trails that is very woodsy. So it's like a 2-second walk to go into the woods. So now that's what I do. If I really need to like not be overwhelmed, I have to physically remove myself and walk amongst the trees and just sit there in their stillness.
Oh, such good advice.
And that is like, okay, I'm good. It's, yeah, my husband knows too. Because, we've been together like you, we've been together long enough. He's like, maybe we should put some Beethoven on, or go hug a tree or something.
Yeah.
So that's been a way to help me really get back into inner peace. And it's not for everyone, right? Like one of my best friends, she needs to be by water.
Yeah.
Like for her, when things are really, she will drive however many hours it is to get to that water. And I'm like, oh wow, okay,
Yeah.
right? And then I have another friend who just needs, she draws. You know those books now that have been really
The
popular
meditation
where
coloring
you,
books. Yeah.
oh, she has like stacks of them. That doesn't work for me. Like the coloring doesn't work for me. Like I love the ocean, but I'm not willing to do the drive.
Yeah.
So I've found ways that works for me,
Yeah.
right? And those two things have been very effective for me getting back into my inner
That's
peace.
a good tip. And I want to encourage people too that what works for you today may mutate depending on what your soul needs, what like the water has a different frequency than the trees in the
Mhm.
forest. It has
Yeah.
different, like mountains have a different frequency. So it depends on where what your soul is going through right now and what download of information it needs
Mhm.
from the different earth elements. So, and it could change. Um,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I like
You're
now
in
I'm
and
back to
did.
doing art and I haven't done art in more. I don't know if you saw I've been
I
posting my
did. It's
yeah, and
amazing, by the way.
and I haven't done art in over 25 years because I got really self-conscious back in the day. I'm like, "Oh, my parents sent my sister to college and she took art school and I'm not good at it." So, I love watching people and I appreciate art, but I just discounted myself out when first started
Mhm.
in my early 20s, and then somehow it just came back last year. It hasn't even been a full year, and I thought, "Oh my gosh, this is kind of a meditation for me now." Another, besides
Yes.
dance, besides singing bowls, besides sitting quietly
Mhm.
cross-legged, besides now doing
Yeah,
puzzles. It's like all these different techniques to get us
to
back.
help,
Yeah,
yeah.
but and they just came. It wasn't like,
Mhm.
"Oh, I feel like I need to I'm craving art." It was just like my it sometimes when you're so in
Yeah.
not sometimes, when you're so in tune to your soul, it it brings it to you. Somehow you can see it, it
Oh
appears
my
in front
gosh.
of you and you're like, "Oh, that's what I need. I'll follow that breadcrumb now and see where it goes."
Totally. That and it's interesting you say that because since I was a little girl, I've always wanted to play the piano. So when I was a kid, my mom, got me lessons. But I'm also dyslexic, so I couldn't read notes really well. So it was frustrating. So then I just told myself, "Oh, I'm stupid. I can't read. No, I can't read music notes." So I just stayed away from it. And through this soul journey, as I'm finding inner peace, and there's just some days I can't get myself to go outside in the rain
Right.
because I don't want to.
Right.
But I didn't know what else. But like you said, your soul just kind of spoke to you and said, and then my son wanted a piano for his 15th birthday, so we got it and we kept it because I was like, "Oh, I love this, girl. I can play
Really?
I can play the piano
See?
now. It's
Oh my
crazy.
gosh.
I was like, and it felt so natural, like I understood it. And mind you, I'm not reading notes because I follow some
The program, that
you
thing
know the
that teaches you?
yeah
Yeah,
yeah
what
yeah
to
yeah
push the
that
button.
teach
Yeah.
you that yeah. Oh my gosh, I was shocked at my own self, and I was like, did I just play Chopin there for a minute? Now I'm learning Beethoven.
Wow.
Oh my god,
Come on.
I'm freaking myself
And it
out.
wasn't on
Like,
your life plan. You didn't put it on your vision
no,
board, you didn't put it on your bucket
no,
list, you didn't put it wasn't a plan, it was just
no.
no when you are so connected to your soul and the inner peace that's in your
Mhm.
soul, things appear. And I don't know if it was just social media that said, "Oh, here's paint," and I don't even follow artists, but then all of a sudden I'm following all the artists on and then now you're playing you're playing.
Yeah. I'm playing the music that puts me at ease, but
Mhm.
now I'm not just listening to it, I'm becoming a part of it
Yeah.
because the vibration through my fingers and in
Oh,
my soul,
man.
and it
Yeah.
feels so good. And then, like one day, I was going through whatever I was having technical issues. And instead of throwing my computer, I decided I'm going to sit in front of the piano. And I just started playing it. And at the end, my son comes down and he goes, "That was really good,
Oh
Mom.
my
You did
gosh.
it."
Yay.
And I was like, I was so lost in it. I
Mhm.
didn't even kind of like how you were talking about your art. You get so lost in it, you don't even realize. And people are like, "Wow, that's so
Yeah.
amazing. Oh, that's beautiful." And you're like, "Oh, I was kind of in my peaceful trance.
Mhm. Mm.
I was in that trance of I'm just feeling the music. I'm just feeling it. I'm not even trying to make myself learn."
Yeah, and you're doing it for yourself. Like, I'm doing the art
Yes.
for myself, not so I
Hmm.
can get a new client or so someone
Yeah.
but then people DM me and like, "Oh, can I buy that?" I'm like, "Oh, okay." But now
Yeah.
that I realize if I would just put myself first more often, think about my
Mhm.
needs. What does my
Mhm.
soul need? Well, how do I honor my soul instead of how do I
Mhm.
take care of you? How do I support you? How do I,
Yeah.
it was,
Yeah.
we had lived so many years on the external and focused on the
Mhm.
external. Now it's time to like focus on the internal. And look what happens. We end up
Mhm.
supporting people anyway.
Yeah. And the other thing I found is when I was living from that external ego, mind space, um, I needed more validation from the world.
Mhm.
Now that I'm living from an internal space, I feel more abundantly
Oh my
whole that
gosh.
I validate externally versus needing it.
Yeah.
Like I'm really at peace with I don't whether you tell me I'm cool or not, I don't really doesn't matter. Okay, thanks.
Yeah. It just so shows again that what you said earlier, like, "Oh, I'm gonna be okay if I don't work with you." Like, there is
Yeah.
this piece of because I'm doing this for to honor my soul, to
Mhm.
honor my truth, to honor my needs, which is
Yeah.
joy, love, and peace,
Yes.
then I'm okay with not working with everybody, and then in turn, you end up,
Mhm.
like, people just contacting you out of nowhere.
Yeah. Like one of my commitments to myself after I had COVID a couple years ago, right at the beginning of COVID, I got COVID. One of my commitments to myself is I am just not going to work with anybody who I wouldn't be friends with.
That's a good one.
Right. Like that was just one of the things because I think I had such an skewed idea of what friendship
Ah,
looked like
mhm,
that I didn't want that to be an unhealthy space for me as I moved into this professional space of um, you know, connection.
yeah.
Like I didn't want it to be just like this fake connection or like
Oh,
professional and personal connection. I wanted it to be cohesive with me.
yeah.
Like you're gonna get
Well,
me.
that's why I stopped
And
doing the networking groups and stopped actually, I that's why I stopped hosting networking groups. I just felt like it was
Mhm.
so fake. Like,
Mhm.
you had to show up to be a certain way that people want you to be or need you to be so that they can get what they need and want from you. And I'm like, oh my God, I got to stop this. It just doesn't fit with me. But I love what you said is if it feels like if I don't enjoy spending time with you as a
Mhm.
friend, then I won't enjoy that time together. Then that translates to I won't enjoy my life because my life is my time.
Yeah.
My life is my time. So
Yeah.
if we're spending time together
It
and it's
yeah.
not matching or if it doesn't feel good or if it's not, I don't have this, we're not vibing and connecting, then I
Yeah.
want to live my life.
Well, and I feel like I read this book called The Way of Integrity by Martha Beck, and I didn't know it then, but the reason I committed to that because I think when you are faced with you could potentially die from a virus that you didn't incur or want or whatever,
Yeah.
right? And the world was falling apart. I don't want to betray myself anymore.
Mhm.
I'm done in this whole betrayal because, like you said, if I'm willing to betray myself and be like, well, I don't really want to work with you, but I want your money, what am I attracting? I'm attracting the very same thing I'm
That's
trying
the
to
prostitute,
not be.
I forgot what, book that was, but it's the prostitute archetype. Like,
Mm,
I will it's a transaction of I because I need this, I'm gonna be this for you. But
yeah.
you're not,
Yeah.
it's yeah, there's different archetype characters that we play. And when we do
Hmm.
that role of transactional, I'm gonna be what you need just so I can get your
Hmm.
money, it's the prostitute archetype. I can't remember the book. I wish when I find
Yeah.
it, I'll send it to you.
That really got me when I was like, oh my gosh, I, that when I was going through the soul journey of self assessment, that deep layer of self assessment, I'm like, where else do I betray myself?
Mm,
You know?
mm.
And then I think that's why the inner peace, even my romantic relationship, like I've been with my husband for 27 years, but I honestly feel like I'm really with him now.
Oh, my gosh, I swear we're twins.
Like I feel like what were we doing before? But now I feel I enjoy my
Yeah.
time with him. And like what you were saying, I didn't realize how much I was micromanaging. And now I don't,
No.
it's just freedom.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I have so much more freedom, so much more space. And I really enjoy our time together.
And then they feel the respect. They feel
Oh my
respected. They
God.
feel
Oh,
honored because we honored ourselves. We respected ourselves that we're like, okay, no more micromanaging. Let's just, I trust you. I have faith in you. And then now they feel manlier. So now our relationship is
oh my
closer.
gosh. Yeah. He's saying that, like, I was, I mean, I'm not saying that he's not a romantic kind of guy or whatever, but those kind of compliments were far and few between when you're busy and living life and doing this thing. And now he says it so much more often. And you crave that in a relationship. And now it's just become more natural.
Without
It's
us
not
telling them to do
controlled.
it.
Yeah, and it's that, and he apologizes without me prompting him, like,
Oh,
oh, where before he's like, well, that requires an apology, and then when he did, I'd be like, well, that doesn't count because I had to tell you to apologize.
oh, yeah,
Where now it's so much more natural,
yeah,
and it's like it feels our our intimate level has there's no gaps now because those emotional spaces are being filled.
yeah. Oh my goodness.
Like, I don't need to read one more marriage book. I'm
Yeah.
good.
It feels like there's more of a flow as opposed to a
Yes.
force. Instead of force, there's
Yes.
flow. And that's all because we just surrendered and let go and yeah.
Yes. And that inner peace, even in parenting. Like, I have, like you, adult children, and I thought I'd worry more because, now I can't control them as
They're not
much because
home.
they're adults. They can do whatever. But it's so fascinating. I still watch a lot of detective shows and
Mm.
true crime I still listen to that, but I'm not afraid of
Oh,
that happening. I'm just more entertained now. Like,
okay.
oh man, that's whereas before I literally like would check if the windows were closed, like should I nail this thing in, and it's not. So then my relationship with my kids isn't like you have to tell me because I need to assess my fear level.
Mm.
It's more of like I want to be a part of your life.
So
Like, I
good.
just need you to share with me because I want to be a part of your life so I can support you, not so I can control you.
I love that. That's huge. I need you to I need all the details so I can assess my fear level. There's
Yeah.
no peace in
Like,
that.
does it sound like that true crime I was just listening to or what?
Yeah,
Because that's how I used to be,
yeah.
right?
Oh, I need you to call me every single day because I need to know how you are so I know how much of a parent to work like, what kind of like, people
Yes.
used to tell me all the time, "You don't watch the news?" I'm like, "No." "Well, don't you need to know what's going on?" I'm like, "I already know what's going on. The same thing has always been going on forever. The same thing last year and the same thing the last year before the whatever is totally out there in the news, it will end up on something that I'm reading anyway, so but I
Yeah.
don't need
And
to
when
control
my
I can't
kids
do anything
were,
about it anyway, besides pray. I mean,
yeah.
I pray, so
And like this other thing of like where I needed my kids to call me every single day, like you're saying, just so I know what they're doing. Where now they call me every day because they want to,
yeah.
not because they have to,
Oh,
right?
such a different
Now
frequency.
it's like they just want to. They just like, Mom, why aren't you answering your phone? I'm like, "Dude, I'm busy."
It's a deeper relationship. It's like,
Way.
oh my gosh, it's more of an intimate because now you're intimate with yourself, with
Oh
your
my
own
gosh.
soul.
Who knew?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well,
Oh my
yeah,
gosh.
yeah,
Totally. My middle daughter, she's in South Carolina now, and she was telling me about some kind of conflict with a friend that she had going on that's asking her for support. She goes, Mom, what should I tell her? Should I, like, how should I help support this? And I was telling her, I go, you, there's the best advice I think all of us need to wrap our heads around is you are at the center of all of your chaos and you're at the center of all of your happiness.
Right.
And there's no amount of anything anybody's going to say or do. There's not one more book. There's not one more convention. There's not one more seminar. If you are not at this, if you don't first recognize you're at the center of all
Yeah.
of your good and bad.
Yeah.
And if you make peace with that, that's the beginning stage of that space of self love, self care, self anything that is self related can't be forced. You have to first come to terms with you are, you're it.
Yeah.
There's no one else involved.
Hey,
You're it.
totally opposite from what we were taught. We were taught we weren't the center of the universe, and now we're learning, I think we are.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my gosh,
And
that's a great note to end on. Thank you, friends. Remember that it is an internal work on the internal first, because forcing the external, forcing the relationships, forcing the business, forcing everything, forcing the money is a fear. It's a fear trigger. It's a fear response. And
mm-hmm,
once you learn to live from fear or move out of fear and into peace, the
mm-hmm,
relationships, the money, everything is richer and deeper and more
mm-hmm.
enjoyable, don't you think? Like now
Oh
we can
yeah.
enjoy and we can actually
Yeah.
feel fulfilled. Like I actually now
Mm-hmm.
feel satisfied and fulfilled as opposed to
100%.
even
Yeah.
if I made more money or even if I had more sex. It's not gonna
Right.
make you
Yeah.
feel fulfilled because the relationship
Yeah.
within ourselves is not there. So,
Yeah.
wonderful, Morrison. Please tell everybody where they can find you when they want a
No,
Yeah,
no, just kidding.
not everybody, just those who match Wonderful Morrison. You've listened to her enough today, so you know if you're a vibrational match to her, and if you are, please find her where?
Yeah, find me on Facebook under Wonderful Morrison or Lead Her Academy. And that's also Instagram, any social medias, Lead Her Academy or Wonderful
And you've got
Morrison.
some
You
great
can find me both.
programs coming up in the pipeline here soon.
Yeah. Yes, I'm really excited. One of my newest things that I am putting out into the world in terms of vibrational connection is sage leadership.
Mm,
Because I think leadership is very similar to business, where we have only been taught one way to lead, like, again, force,
yeah.
right? And I think leadership, again, is inner. If you can't, if you are not leading yourself, who can you lead?
Exactly. Oh, we learned that at Sci
Yep,
at
that's
PSI.
right.
That's right. Okay, friends, and you can find me on slayandshine.com, Slay and Shine Sound Bath on Facebook, and just Slay and Shine everywhere. So much love to you all. Peace and blessings. Take care of your soul. Give
Thank
yourself
you.
grace and always, always shine from your heart and be led by your soul. Much love, everyone.